Okay, so mic check. If you can let me know how the audio's coming in, appreciate that. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vera, and this is our live stream where hopefully technicalities are on our side. It's Monday morning here in Singapore, 9 a.m. Hopefully, your evening is going well for you, wherever you might be, or your morning here in Asia. Again, thank you for being here. Danger Close, how you doing? Harold B, Tweety Bird, Seymour Rivers, how you doing? Yeah, thanks for the feedback there. Patrick Bateman, greetings and salutations. And yeah, so a little bit of a small house today, but we'll get a little bit cozy here, and we'll see how things go. So again, appreciate you being here, and as always, please do remember to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified on updates, and give us a thumbs up. Those are always appreciated. And let me just click on one thing here. Let's see. Yeah, let me just click on that. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Always appreciated. So again, moving forward, Ace is up. How you doing? Joey from Seattle. Eddie Cruz. How you doing? Michelle Pokipala. Aloha. How you doing? How you doing? David Landham. How you doing? 7 p.m. in Mississippi. All right. Thanks for joining us there. Uh, in the southeast. Okay, appreciate you guys being here again. So yeah, do subscribe. We always do appreciate those thumbs up, and you can always find us on social media. There we go, Monday morning, right? Always going to run into these these things. Social media, silverbullion.com.sg is where you can find us. This is our website. We are a silver and gold bullion dealer, but more than that, we also do store silver and gold. We have our own vault, and we do specialize in wealth protection. And as I always say, a lot of you folks already know what's going on, and it's important that we understand how silver and gold act as things such as stores of wealth, how they can be a hedge against inflation, and especially with inflation coming on, and there always seems to be the talk of a currency crisis ahead. So, systemic wealth protection. If you understand what's going on, give us a call or email us, sales@silverbullion.com.sg, and we'll see what we can do. Silver Bullion SG is our handle on Facebook. Silver Bullion PL is where you can find us on Twitter. PL for private limited. Silver Bullion SG is our Instagram account. Audio versions can be found on bit.ly, SBTV iTunes, or SBTV Spotify. And lastly, do join our Crisis Tracker group. If you have that Telegram app, go ahead and search Crisis Tracker, one word, and join the group. This is where Vincent and I, from time to time, almost every day, really, we'll go ahead and post news, economic news, financial news, gold and silver news, things like that, things that probably would have some bearing or some effect on your decision. So we kind of sift through all the weeds, and we'll look for things that may be important to you. So go ahead and join that Crisis Tracker group. Again, on that Telegram app, search for Crisis Tracker, one word, and go ahead and join it. So again, appreciate all of you being here. Again, John Robinson. Okay, how you doing, John? Mitch Alex, how you doing? Okay, so all right. Greetings and salutations to all. Aloha and welcome. Appreciate it. Upcoming guest. I think this is going to change. Thomas Mullinan, I think we're going to have to reschedule him, but we do have Chris Powell coming up, and we're also going to have Thomas Saymon, I believe, who also is in Lebanon, and he's facing the situation much like Ali Shehadi. So it will be interesting to get Thomas Saymon on. So let's scroll through here. Chris Powell from GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, a civil rights organization keeping you informed about the illegal collusion to control the supply and price of gold. So Chris Powell will be coming up, and as I said, so will Thomas Saymon from Lebanon. again facing the same situations as former guest Ali Shehadi. So I look forward to bringing that to you. Ebook giveaway is going to be this book here from Nomi Prince, Collusion: How Central Bankers Rigged the World. Again from Nomi Prince. Central banks and international institutions like the IMF have overstepped their traditional mandates by directing the flow of epic sums of fabricated money. Nice choice of words there. Fabricated money without any checks or balances. And meanwhile, the open door between private and central banking has ensured endless opportunities for market manipulation and asset bubbles with government support. So that is a good book. I do have it on my Kindle. I've been reading it, and I think it's you guys will enjoy it. So if you want to win that Kindle ebook, house rules, download the Kindle app from your app or tablet's app store. It is free. Be one of the first five to answer correctly in this live stream. You're going to have about a minute and 30 seconds. The question is going to come from the Jesse Felder interview, so hopefully you had a chance to watch it week and a half, couple weeks ago, somewhere around there. U.S. winners, you're going to be given a link to download the ebook. Non-U.S. winners, you're going to have to ask Amazon to exchange the ebook for something else, like perhaps a gift card. Reason being, Amazon doesn't send ebooks outside of the U.S., or they don't allow ebook gifts outside of the U.S. So we have to contact them, and you're going to have to provide us your email during this live stream. And what'll happen is my colleague Vincent, he's standing by, and he will mute your comments, and that way you can go ahead and just type in your email, just your email, nothing else, and then we can go ahead and get it, and no one else will see your email. Keep it nice and tight. Our little secret, nobody else has to know. All right, so looking at comments here again. 495, how you doing? The early, is it daylight savings times already? I thought it was Monday morning. Is it already daylight savings time in parts of the world? Go ahead and let me know. Okay, so let's move over to the question. The question to win that book is going to be, oops, excuse me here. The question is, Warren Buffett said, try to be blank when others are greedy and greedy when others are blank. It's the same word. It's one word for both blank. So just go ahead and give it a shot. Warren Buffett said, try to be blank when others are greedy and greedy when others are blank. So just go ahead and give it a shot. And you never know. You may get it right. So, all right, let's see what happens here. Okay, so it was last night, daylight savings time. Okay, so I'm an hour early. I thought it was Monday. Uh, an hour early and a day late. Yeah, very good. Okay, so yeah, hopefully the other stalwarts will pop in sometime. Okay, so words coming in. We got Seymour Rivers, fearful. We have Mr. Nguyen, scared. Harold B, scared. Let's see, James Richter, fearful. Let's see what else is out there. Let me see, James Richter, fearful. Camille Kosowski, fearful. Let's see, Seppa J, fearful and greedy. Okay, so let's see now. Seems fearful, scared, fearful. Mitch, Alex. Okay, we got the five. We got the five. The answer was fearful. I know scared is pretty similar, but some guys actually got it correct, so I have to give credit to that. And there I am, the one-eyed bandit again. Monday morning, right? Okay, the answer is fearful, and just to prove that that was the answer, we'll go ahead and play the clip from Jesse Felder in our guest revisit portion. So here's the clip.
As Warren Buffett has said, try and be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. That, to me, that is the only kind of sane way to approach a market that's driven by human emotions. Another way that I love to think of it, I think I even prefer John Templeton's way of framing it. I'm going to botch the quote, but when he says, help people. When people are panicking to sell, help them out and buy. And when people are panicking to buy, help them out and sell. And I think to have that kind of a contrarian mindset in a broad sense is helpful to you in the long run. It's a little safer to be aggressive when most people are very fearful. And it's probably time to be a little bit more cautious when people are euphoric.
Okay, so it's the only sane way to approach a market that is driven by emotions, and a lot of people make that mistake. They let their emotions control their investments. When people are panicking to sell, help them out and buy. When people are panicking to buy, help them out and sell. Are we too emotional when it comes to the markets? I think we are. I do see a lot of emotion going into investments. And I've never seen the world in my X amount of years. Not going to exactly tell you how old I am, but in my X amount of years on this earth, as emotional as they are right now. It seems emotions run in everything. And why is that? Why do you think emotions are just running into everything? So again, the winners are going to be Seppa J. Seppa J got it with fearful and greedy. Smart man. He said both. James Richter with fearful. Camille Kosowski with fearful. Camille, first time I've seen you here. Welcome aboard. Let me see. Why is this so big? Oh, hang on, guys. Let me see if I can take care of this. Uh, okay. For some reason, these comments are coming on really huge. Mitch Alex also with fearful. Okay, Mitch Alex. There we go. And then we had Seymour Rivers as well with Fearful. Okay, so those would be the five winners. Seppa J, sorry guys, Seppa J, James Richter, Camille Kosowski, Mitch Alex, and Seymour Rivers. Congratulations to each of you. Congratulations there. So again, with what Jesse Felder said, why do you think it seems like emotions are just so hot in everything nowadays? Every decision is emotional. It seems to be polarized. I mean, how have we gotten to that point? It's incredible right now. Um, let's see some of the comments out there. I got Tony. I was thinking fearful. Okay, buyer's remorse is real emotion. That is true. That is true for sure. Pablo Pina, how you doing? Aloha to you. Let's see what else is out there. Okay, yeah. So congrats to you all. I'll play another clip from Jesse Felder's interview.
Because of the technical setup, because of the monetary setup, those two things, it's a very dangerous time in the stock market right now. A sentiment indicator, Tobias Levkovich's panic euphoria model, it basically is a sentiment indicator, but it's one of the best because it correlates directly to stock market performance 12 months out. And so that euphoria measure hit a higher peak in the beginning of this year. It peaked around the same time that we saw all these other sentiment things I was talking about peak, GameStop, and all these other stocks. Peaked earlier in the year at a high that was higher than the peak set at the peak of the dot-com mania in March of 2000. So that tells you that euphoria was even more extreme in this recent run-up than it was during that speculative mania. I think we're probably headed for an earnings recession next year. The stock market typically tries to discount these things 6 to 12 months out. So that would be right about now. If we're going to see an earnings recession around next summer, Q2, Q3 of next year, stock market would be starting to try and discount that today.
Okay, so the technical and monetary setup. Let me just move something here. The technical and monetary setup. And hang on, let me just something. Okay, sorry about that. The technical and monetary setup are making it to be a very dangerous time in the stock market right now. All-time market highs at some are still some of the worst employment numbers ever that we are still seeing, even though they are getting slightly better. Still, it's out there. Unemployment, um, and we have the stock market rising. So this is something we really have to think about. Are these things connecting, or are they still really at a disconnect here? And I ask guest after guest after guest, how is this possible? And the answer I'm always given is that they know the Fed is there to backstop everything. The Fed is there to help everything move along. Um, it's a Fed-induced market, and it's difficult to tell what's real anymore in the market, except to know that the Fed is going to help the market out, and so we continue to see markets going up, despite what we may see with employment numbers or really what that company might even really be worth anymore. It seems like no one truly knows. Let me look at a few of the comments here. Again, if you are new, I see a few new names here. If you are new, go ahead and type in new and where you're from, and we'll see if we can go ahead and acknowledge you. True, I see some people are putting, maybe a little bit of greed in the market right now, a lot of emotions in there for sure. Um, okay, so let's move on. I think the comments are rolling pretty well. Tweety Bird, that would kind of sum it up. It's a fake market. It surely does seem that way at this point already. So let's move on to one more clip from Jesse Felder.
I can't think of a more bullish setup for precious metals than what we're seeing today. I love the fact that the market is coming to the conclusion, the appropriate conclusion, that inflation is not transitory. The next step that the market's going to come to the conclusion is that the Fed is really powerless to do anything about it because they can't crash the stock market. They can't afford to crash the economy in their efforts towards reining in inflation. And so when fund managers realize, okay, wait, the Fed can't raise interest rates, and so interest rates can't go higher, that's super bullish for precious metals, because I think that's what's holding people back from precious metals. They think we're in this tightening cycle and interest rates are going to go way up. That's not good for precious metals. But I think we're going to have negative real rates for an extended period of time, probably a decade plus. If that's the case, if the market comes around, in my view, gold price, silver prices are going to have to be much, much higher than they are today.
Okay, so Jesse Felder, when you add things up, this is the biggest bullish setup for precious metals that you could ask for. Do you folks agree? Seems like a lot of things out there are really tipping the scales in the favor of precious metals. The Fed is powerless to do anything about inflation should it run. I think a lot of us would agree the only real tool the Fed actually has is that printing press. Either they're going to print more money or they're going to print less more money, and they're going to try and throttle the economy simply by doing that. And gang, this goes back to what I said long ago and pretty consistently, that the Fed, if they could not get the inflation that it wanted for over a decade, going back to the Great Recession, or not Great Recession, going back to 2008 to 2018, 10 years or so plus, they tried and tried and tried to get that inflation. They couldn't get it. If they couldn't get that inflation for over a decade, why would anyone think that they can control it once they get it? I mean, gold and silver will ultimately be much, much higher than it is today. And that's always been the question I had. If the Fed could not get the inflation it wanted, and they've tried everything, what's going to happen when they actually get it? I mean, did they overshoot, overextend in trying to get inflation? And once that inflation comes in, they're going to have to scramble to try and rein it in, if at all possible. So, yeah, just curious to know what you folks think about that. And let me take a look at some comments here. Um, let's see, John Michael Karma. No, I didn't see this. Blaming inflation on price gougers. No, I didn't see that. That sounds interesting though. So, okay, we'll look for that one. What else is out there? Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Belly dance, Rabia R, preserve your wealth and buy silver and gold. They cannot print silver and gold. It's a great point there. Um, let's see. Mitch Alex, Mark Goosen. Okay, we'll take note of that. We'll take note of that, and maybe we'll try. See if we can get him on. Thanks for the tip there. So moving on, we also had John Williams that came on. I know a lot of you guys love and appreciate his work. So we were fortunate to have him on, and I'll play a few clips from the interview that we had with John Williams from Shadow Stats.
We're seeing growth here that's never been seen before. You pump the excess money supply into the system, that creates inflation, drives the inflation. And particularly where you have shortages as we have now and a weak economy, when people look at the velocity of money, most inflation forecasters will say, well, the higher the velocity, the greater the inflation is going to be. And that's true to a certain extent, because usually when you have a heavy turnover there, you have a strong economy. And with a strong economy, you do get inflation. That's more normal inflation driven by the regular economic factors, supply and demand. What we have now is sort of the reverse circumstance. because the economy effectively collapsed. Now that's come back, but it's still shy of where it should be. And yet at the same time, we're seeing money supply growth that's beyond anything ever seen before in the United States, so that you have a very low velocity of money. When you see that, that's when you tend to get hyperinflations.
Okay, so inflation. A strong economy has inflation, according to John Williams, and absolutely, the economy has effectively collapsed. Is what he said, and those are some pretty strong words. It really does take you back once you hear those words. Economy has effectively collapsed. A low velocity of money tends to bring in hyperinflation. Okay, okay, that's another great point there. That I did not realize. I thought, too much when the velocity of money picks up, then inflation really gets going. So he kind of took me back with this one, where it's a low velocity of money that tends to bring in hyperinflation. So, I mean, for you out there, do you think the world's reserve currency, the US dollar, can hyperinflate? And what will it look like for you? I mean, what currency will you use if not for the US dollar? What currency would you use? So that's a good question for us all to think about, because, we, as a lot of you saw from that Ali Shehadi interview, um, countries do have a local currency. And let's say for the US, the local currency is the US dollar. But when their local currency gets in trouble, they look for another currency. So the question here is, if the US dollar gets in trouble, what currency is the US dollar going to switch to? And for a lot of us out there, it seems like half of us will say, gold, silver. The other half is saying crypto. And then another third, they're actually saying it'll never collapse. So, it's interesting with what they're saying there. Um, hang on, let me. Okay, yeah, just had to. Karim chimed in, so we'll run through this, and then we'll get Karim on. Karim, just want to make sure, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay.
I'm here. I can hear you perfectly fine. Thanks.
Okay, so that's Karim Raffa from CACHE.gold, and we'll get with him. We'll get with him shortly. So I want to play another clip from John Williams' interview.
I knew people who lived through the Weimar Republic in Germany, and some of their children. And we talked about some stories. And as a hyperinflation hit, it was very rapid. Nobody really saw it coming. All of a sudden, the store shelves were empty, and people didn't know what to do. But as you came into that crisis, the prices were accelerating out of control, and we're not there yet in the United States. Far from it, but it's moving in that direction. So it's a time where you need to batten down the hatches a little bit, hold the physical metal. If we have difficult times here, I don't know that they're not going to close banks. So if you have gold coins in a safe deposit box, you might have trouble accessing.
Okay, so hyperinflation hits rapidly. That's another great point. We are moving towards hyperinflation, is what John Williams and a whole lot of other people do think. And he also goes on to say that banks may close, and whatever you have in banks, including in your safety deposit boxes, such as gold, if you're keeping it there, it's not too far-fetched of an idea to say that you may not have access to your holdings in that safety deposit box if this day of hyperinflation, bank holidays, all these things do come. So that's another great point that John Williams mentioned. Let me play one more clip from John Williams.
One area that over time has maintained real purchasing power is the precious metals. It certainly can preserve your life in difficult times. In this type of environment that we're in here, physical gold and silver are the hedge against inflation. I've been to gold shows around the country here, and I was at one and met a lady who's talking about her family and how they all owed their lives to gold that they had set aside back in the days around World War II. Because of gold, they were able to bribe border guards to escape. In that type of an emergency, that type of circumstance, there's nothing like gold or silver. When you get a hyperinflation, that's a similar type of circumstance. You no longer have a stable economy, stable circumstances.
Okay, so precious metals saves lives. It is the head against inflation. Border guards love gold. Remember that. Border guards love gold. You never know. I mean, we hear countless stories, whether it's pilots who actually had gold in their emergency kits to help move through countries to get to safety, or whether it's Vietnamese when they were leaving Vietnam, escaping Vietnam. They had to offer up some gold to the boat captains to get on the boat. So gold actually does save lives. So moving forward, let's go over to see what Gerald Celente had to say in his recent trends journal. A few items that I took note of were electric vehicles, more electric vehicles, Facebook, and a junk bond high. Electric vehicles, Hertz, the rental car company that emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy in June with $6 billion in capital, has agreed to buy 100,000 Tesla Model 3 all-electric sedans by the end of 2022, paying about $4.2 billion for the lot. Hertz will make Teslas available for rent this year in Atlanta, Austin, Nashville, New Orleans, and Tulsa, with other markets added in the coming months. Tesla's controversial self-driving feature will be enabled in rental cars. Hertz's share price rose 10% on its announcement. Tesla's share price shot up to almost 1,100, vaulting its market cap above 1 trillion for the first time and cementing Tesla founder Elon Musk's place as the richest person on planet Earth. Well, why would you want to escape to Mars if you're the richest person on Earth? Anyway, to capitalize on public curiosity about electric vehicles, otherwise known as EVs, Hertz is launching a marketing campaign that has enlisted football legend Tom Brady to talk up the initiative, and Hertz will offer digital guidance to EV newbies and expedite Tesla bookings through its app. It also has pledged to install thousands of charging stations for its Tesla customers. The bold move is part of Hertz's plan to reinvent itself as a mobility company. Okay, they're looking at reinventing themselves as a mobility company. And the deal also expands Hertz's customer base with public interest in EVs on the rise. The rental car company is counting on not only travelers to rent its Teslas, but also curiosity seekers who want to find out what driving an EV is like. And Hertz is giving notice that EVs are mainstream and they are here to stay. More electric vehicles. Amazon discloses 20% ownership of Rivian. Amazon owns 20% of Rivian, a maker of all electric pickup trucks. And I'm guessing a lot of you may not have heard of this, Rivian, but they make electric pickup trucks and SUVs, and that has announced an 8.4 billion initial public stock offering last week. If you look at the date of the journal, which would value the company at about 60 billion. Amazon's stake in Rivian is valued at about 3.8 billion. It's said up from 2.7 billion at the end of last year. So Amazon also has placed on order with Rivian for 100,000 all-electric delivery vans, the company said. The first 10,000 are to be delivered in 2022, with the balance coming through the rest of this decade. Rivian began making its truck earlier this year, but will prioritize production of Amazon's order to generate income and cash flow. Rivian's assembly plant is in Normal, Illinois, but the company is in discussions to build a $5 billion facility in Fort Worth, Texas, and is considering another plant in Europe to produce some of Amazon's vans. Electric vehicles really in the news and getting a bit hotter. Facebook, an artificial reality that will destroy the human spirit and commercial real estate, according to Gerald Celente's Trends Journal. Commercial landlords didn't have to go too far for a scare for Halloween the other weekend. They just had to listen to an earnings call last week for Facebook that was attended by Mark Zuckerberg, its billionaire founder, and he announced that the company was ready to invest tens of billions to bring a virtual world to users in a way that has never been achieved. Over the next decade, these new platforms are going to start to unlock the kinds of experiences that I've wanted to build since before I even started Facebook, said Zuckerberg during an earnings call. And this was reported by the Wall Street Journal. He intends to spend about $10 billion this year on Facebook Reality Labs and sees that number increasing over the next several years. And he's been one of the most outspoken proponents of executing many of life's tasks, especially work, in a virtual environment. And he even announced Facebook will change its name to Meta, a play on the so-called metaverse, which the paper said represents a digital reality where People playing through avatars could perform a wide range of activities inside a virtual realm. The metaverse is the next frontier, according to Zuckerberg. From now on, we're going to be metaverse first, not Facebook first. For Facebook, Zuckerberg said the eventual payoff could result by inventing this realm and, wait for it, selling products. If you're in the metaverse every day, then you'll need digital clothes and digital tools and different experiences, he said. Our goal is to help the members reach 1 billion people and hundreds of billions of dollars of digital commerce. All right, digital clothes. There we go. Junk bond high. Investors energize junk bond market despite growing risks. The U.S. high yield debt market, also known as junk bonds, has grown to a record size, the Financial Times reported, as a record 149 companies this year, such as Coinbase and Medline, have locked into rock bottom interest rates, and investors seeking to boost yields tapped cheap money to take a flyer on high risk companies. 26 new bond issues washed into the junk bond market in September, tying last April's record for the most in a single month after 13 companies issued high yield bonds from 1 through 25 October, according to the Financial Times. The swelling junk bond market is part of the rapidly growing private credit sector that is attracting fresh attention from pension funds, wealthy individuals, and others hoping to raise their rates of return. Low interest rates are drawing corporations looking to borrow cheaply and drawing investors willing to take the risk if it might bring a higher return. Don't know about that. Just don't know about that. But that will wrap up our guest revisit portion of the show. Let's head on over to silverbullion.com.sg. Take a look at the silver price. And we're seeing silver right now at 24.32 up here in this section. 24.32 an ounce. And we're seeing gold at 18.17 an ounce. But it's good to see gold get above that $1,800 psychological level. Silver's still having a hard time trying to claw its way back up to 25. A lot of resistance in the 24 level. Going down, let's go down here a bit. Silver to gold ratio, 74.7. So we're still in that mid 70 range. What this means is it takes roughly 75 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold price wise. That's price wise. But again, people that we talk to, the miners, are telling us that it's coming out of the ground at about 8-1 or 9-1, meaning 8 ounces of silver is coming out of the ground at a proportion to equal 1 ounce of gold. So they're saying it's 8-1, but the markets are saying it's 75-1, and I think you folks know a lot of that has to do because of the paper gold, paper silver market. Going down some featured products, I'm always going to take a look at this one here. 1,000 ounce LBMA bars, and the reason is because the premiums on these are pretty good. They're pretty low. I mean, as you folks know, also the bigger quantity of the bar you buy, the lesser the premium on it. So a lot of investors will look towards these 1,000 ounce LBMA bars. From the shop, none in the shop right now because they all are in the vault. But you can go ahead and purchase it from the shop. It'll be there in a week. We just got to transfer it over from the vault because in stock we have 406 LBMA bars, so they are plentiful. What you need to do is sign up as a user, and the easiest one is a personal account. There are other accounts: a joint account, trust account, joint with a minor, a business account, and a retirement account if you're looking at a precious metals IRA. But again, the simplest one is a personal account. Basically, it's just simple information, and you would just need an ID such as a passport. Fill out the application, and that'll pretty much be it. We'll do our normal checks and make sure it's all good. And what you would want to do also is click on the reference section here. And for some reason, we're at the bottom, so you got to go all the way down to the bottom. That's where you'll find us, YouTube SBTV. That helps us out. And so does your thumbs up. We really do appreciate those. And you would want to probably tick this box here: receive customer notifications via encrypted secure notifications. What that means is you'll get an email from us saying that you have a message from us, and that's it. Nothing else in the body of the email. So that way, Google, Yahoo, Hotmail, all those guys, they algos, you never know what's in them. They can't see what's in your email. So you would just go ahead and log in, and then you would see your message from us. So it's encrypted. It's much more secure that way. And don't forget to hang on. Let me go back a page. Just let me go back a page, and don't forget to download the Silver Bullion Investor Kit. It is free. What you can do is just go ahead and click on this, and it'll open up on the web page, and you can either look at it on the web page or you can go ahead and download it as well. It's free. And again, how to sign up for the Star Storage account. It is free, and there are no maintenance fees. So go ahead and get that ready. As we always talk about, you may need options, or you may want options depending on your situation. Everyone has a different situation, but this is good to have ready. And I think you noticed the first banner here, especially for people in Singapore. Millennial Walk is where we are going to be at now from 17th November. So you can come in and visit us at Millennial Walk. We are still here. I mean, you can call us, you can email us. We are still here doing the transition. We haven't gone anywhere. So all these things are good to know. And we'll move on to Twitter. Take a look at what's going on in Twitter. Some things that were bookmarked. Pisces Dragon. What? Why? This is pretty interesting. It's in, somebody tried to put gold in this shredder, and gold said, "No, I'm not having none of that. I'm here to stay. I've been money for 5,000 years. You're not getting rid of me that easily." So this guy tried to put it through the shredder, and it didn't go anywhere. And it was a real gold bar. It did get a little bit chewed up, of course, but it hung in there. So gold, money for all ages. It's been around. It's not going anywhere. Virtually indestructible. So that was a pretty good one to see there. Let me see what else is out there. Let me get back to my bookmarks. Okay. So what else is out there? This was pretty interesting. I think it was about a year ago. People were saying we had a coin shortage, and there were some people, they were kind of laughing and scoffing at that idea that we were in a coin shortage. And then the U.S. Mint puts this out: turn in your coins. Millions of Americans use cash as their only form of payment. Help get coins moving by spending, depositing, or exchanging coins for currency at financial institutions. I would, let me finish, sorry, or taking them to a coin redemption kiosk. I would read this as, give us your coins because we don't have enough. We don't have enough coins. Give us your coins. That's how I would read it. And that would go back to when we were talking about a coin shortage last year. A lot of people were talking about it, and we had a lot of people laughing and scoffing. But here we are today. U.S. Mint is saying, turn in your coins. Turn in your coins. We need help. So interesting tweet coming out there. Judy Shelton, she's talking about Jerome Powell. And she says, this is getting my attention, and I truly appreciate comment from Danielle DiMartino Booth, who must have seen the original article from the New York Sun. Why haven't the Fed financial journalists picked up on this? What the story was about basically was when Judy Shelton, who a lot of us had wanted to get in as a Fed governor, during her time of nomination, what was happening was Fed Chair Jerome Powell was actually contacting a lot of legislators. And so the Fed, which is supposed to be independent, they had their top guy contacting legislators. And the assumption is he was saying he didn't want Shelton on. He was trying to get the assurance that they would not vote for Shelton. So, I mean, there may be more to the story in the days ahead, but keep an eye on it. I know a lot of us wanted Judy Shelton to be there. Chris Marcus, Arcadia Economics. If every other supply chain is breaking, what's going to happen to the silver supply chain? So which is a good point, because for us, what we're kind of seeing is not necessarily a shortage in silver. It's just still a delay, whether it's a shipping delay, whether it's a product manufactured delay, but it's not where the actual metal itself is becoming hard to find. It's not there. It's more in the realm of production delays, shipping delays. So not to be confused with an actual product shortage. Wall Street Silver, honey, I shrunk the truth bars. Well, isn't this true? Truth seems to be shrinking more and more, but even in the bar itself, 10% inflation, 50 grams to 45 grams, and cost more. So we can see here on the left what it used to look like, and on the right, what it's looking like today. Shrinkflation. Let's see. Jim Rickards, 2 hours ago, I tweeted. Well, this is about the vax mandate, and what happened was they're stopping it. The appeals court blocks the vaccine mandates. Um, what's interesting about that, or what's tough about that, is a lot of people felt they were forced to get it done and do it, and then here on the back end, they're saying, the appeals court is blocking it. So I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of very very angry people with this. SRS Rocco report: 1.6 billion ounces of official silver coins held tightly by investors has been taken off the market. That's you and me, guys. We are buying up the silver and we are holding it. Thus, institutions and large investors cannot access this silver during the next financial crisis. So go ahead and try your best to make it a point to get yourself some silver when you can. Let's see. Reserve Bank of India has acquired 75.59 tons of gold in the last 12 months, boosting the gold reserves of the country significantly. 11% increase. Central banks continue to stockpile gold. And so that was a look at Twitter. There's a lot more there, but I want to get Karim Raffa. So we're going to move on over to the topic of the day. And that's going to be, we're going to take a look at CACHE.gold and their Cache Gold token, or CGT. And a little bit of a disclaimer here ahead of time. I do have a very, very, very micro share in Cache, but it's because I believe in it. And I think it's something that may not be getting as much publicity or press or marketing as some other tokens, but it's there. I mean, I think it's a token that Goldbugs would want to know about. So just to offer that disclaimer ahead of time, unless Karim and the gang want to sell more shares, let me know. But anyway, the Cache Gold CGT, it's a token built by Goldbugs. And this is important because it's not the other way around, where people have the technology and then they try to stuff gold into it and make gold fit their technology. This is different. This is built from Goldbugs, people who understand gold, whether it's a bullion company and a vaulting company. We understand what gold investors want, what Goldbugs want. So it wasn't technology to fit gold. It was gold that was there to begin with, and then technology came around to enhance gold. So again, it's gold first, then the technology, whereas a lot of other guys were technology and then they tried to fit gold in there to make it work. This is a bit different, as I think folks are going to see. So we all know we are looking at coming things such as inflation, hyperinflation, an alternative to the dollar. And we should be looking at options. We say this all the time, options, right? I mean, we may not like the options, but still it's options that we need to take a look at and understand. And something that is universally known as money, that of course being gold, something we can keep within our reach, something that is in no one's reach. We actually want the duality of both. And here's a friendly reminder on that.
I believe, like many people, gold and silver are stores of wealth. They could also be an investment instrument, but if you don't look at them like an investment instrument, if you look at them as stores of wealth, you'll note that they hold them very well. And then where the stores of wealth typically been put, they've been put in areas where there's low risk or smaller risk of those countries being invaded and the gold being taken. So do I think it's wise? Yes, I think it's wise to have some gold and silver within hands reach, some gold and silver within cars reach, and then some gold and silver within no one's reach, right? With that, I believe that there are places then to store your gold and silver. Looking for places like you guys have that capability. Look for those companies that have that ability and use it. Same type of thing, right? Redundancy.
Okay, so that was Dave Drummond. Some of you folks may remember that interview. But with all these things said, as I always say, and as you already know, we're going to need options. We're going to need them. And I, like you, want to be able to rely on my silver. I want to rely on my gold as a store of wealth and to be able to use it as a currency if I need to, or to barter with if need be. I mean, after all, this is our investment and this is our insurance. It's both, and in so many different ways, and it has to work. It has to work for us. And because it has to work, my physical gold, your physical gold, needs to be able to reach people selling things like a home, food, maybe a business, who want the security of gold as money over, say, something perhaps like Bitcoin. Furthermore, if I should have to get out of Dodge, as that phrase goes, I need my gold to be mobile. So I need my gold to be able to do a lot of things. And same as you may want your gold to be able to do a lot of things for you as well. And so for these considerations and more, I'm going to bring on Karim Raffa, COO from CACHE.gold, with their CACHE.gold token to help us understand the benefits of the CACHE.gold token and how it was specifically built for gold bugs like you and me. Karim comes from a banking background, and has been working in financial technology and blockchain since 2015. Till 2020, he was the director of strategy at Ventures, at a venture builder focused on core banking technology, where he set up and managed new ventures in Singapore, the Philippines, Australia, and the UK. Karim Raffa, welcome to SBTV live stream. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you, Patrick. Always great to be on here with you.
Yeah, great to have you back again, and I really want to have you talk about the Cash Gold token and cash, and explain to people who are into gold what it can do for them, and the options that it may bring. Because as I just mentioned there, we need our gold to be able to work as far as what we see coming ahead. So if you can, I mean, feel free to explain more about your background and what it is that you what it is with cash that got you interested.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for the intro. That was very kind of you. Like you said, my background's in traditional finance and banking, and well, apologies for everyone out there. I used to be a banker after all. I started working in fintech and blockchain, like you said, in 2015. Back then, blockchain was very much still a thing of the future, not so much a thing of the present. And well, as things progressed, fintech and blockchain very much became the future, so to speak, of traditional finance. I met Gregor through an introduction of about a year and a half ago now. It was quite interesting. He took me around the vault at Silver Bullion, at the safe house, sorry, showed me a bunch of physical gold actually and silver in amounts that I'd never seen before. And as I'm sure most of you can imagine, that was quite impressive to me. Even more so, what did catch my interest was that they were building a system, or that they had built a system called Cache, which digitizes physical gold and also turns digital gold back into physical gold. So offer both conversion from physical to digital, but also redemption back into the physical metal. I guess the physicality of it, for something that's usually as intangible as crypto assets, as blockchain, as Ethereum, and now as NFTs, definitely caught my interest and piqued my interest. See that relationship between something tangible and physical into something digital is something that you don't really see that often when it comes to traditional financial products, but also even less so when it comes to new decentralized financial products.
Okay, it's quite a lot there. So we're gonna go through it all, and guys, go ahead if you have questions about cash. Go ahead and start with the capital letter Q, so we can hopefully see your question a bit better. Go ahead and type in a capital Q, and then the question that you have for Karim, or questions about cash, gold, and things like that, and we'll try and compile it and then see if we can go ahead and get them answered. So start with the capital letter Q to help us identify it. Um, okay, so what is Cash Gold, and what is the Cash Gold token, or CGT?
So CACHE.gold is a company that does quite simply only two things. We turn physical bullion that adheres to certain ones of our standards into a token, and we turn that token back into physical gold. Those are the two only things we do. Now, to make sure that the gold is stored in a safe space, we also partner with vaults around the world, notably with Loomis and Dylan Gage, and hopefully very soon with Brinks, as well as the Safe House here in Singapore, in Switzerland, as well as in the US. Now, the CACHE.gold token is our unit of account, if you will. So one CGT equals 1 gram of pure gold. Now, we chose pure gold because not all gold bars have the same purity. And we also only deal with bars that are 100 grams or 1 kilo bars, a lot lower than our competition, as you can imagine, simply to avoid arbitrage from premiums across different weight classes and different gold categories.
Okay. Another question here. Why digitize gold if I already have the real thing? I already have physical, so why digitize?
So we're not trying to convince anyone that's got gold at home under the mattress or in their own personal safe to digitize gold. If you are into physical bullion, by all means, keep it. So are we. I mean, that's why we're in the business we're in. We love physical gold. What we are doing, though, is giving an option or an alternative to people that say store gold in vaults, because that's exactly where we keep our gold as well. We keep gold in vaults. There is a storage fee that's attributed to it. There is a transfer fee and a redemption fee. It's fundamentally the exact same things you would see if you held a physical bar in a vault. However, what you can do with a token like ours is own much smaller increments of gold, and you're not obliged to sell a full bar if you need to liquidate some, and even more so if you need to use it as a medium of transfer.
Okay. Some interesting points there. I want to take you, Karim, to something that came out in the In Gold We Trust report back in 2020. So I'm hoping you can see this here. The
Very
dawning
grateful
of
for that
a
feature.
yeah, dawning of a golden decade. And if I scroll down a bit in this publication here, we have gold-backed tokens in 2020, a glimpse into the future. And these are some of the gold-backed tokens that are already in the space. And the article goes on to say that some argue that gold and crypto assets, some crypto assets are in competition where only one asset class will eventually emerge victorious. Yet there are also many, us included, who see the potential of melding the two. So at that time when this was written in 2020, there were currently over 70 gold backed tokens, and most likely many of them are going to fail. And it will take some time for the market leaders to truly emerge, gain widespread exposure, and thus secure the standing of gold backed tokens as a store of value. And this coming year will be the pivotal year in identifying which projects are going to take the lead in this endeavor. Excuse me. So what they were looking at are a few already gold backed tokens out there, or that's what they're classified as. One, Tether Gold, XAUT, Pax Gold, PAXG, Infinigold, or PMGT, the Perthman Gold token, and Cash Gold token, or CGT. And this is pretty good here because we can compare some of the things that each of these tokens do. And it starts off by saying, in many ways, gold and crypto come from opposite ends of the investment spectrum. This is true. Gold guys, crypto guys, sometimes, they aren't exactly the best of friends. And gold is universally acknowledged, widely held, and has a history of being a safe haven that is unparalleled. So what we want to do is we'll just kind of skip through some of these things here, and then we'll just head to Tether Gold, or XAUT. So Tether Gold, XAUT, it's a relatively new product as of last year, released by Tether in January of 2020. According to their white paper, TG Commodities Limited, or Tether Gold, was set up as a new entity with the aim of digitizing the value of gold using the new token, or XAUT. This novel token hopes to give XAUT holders the ability to own digitally allocated gold in small sums that are highly transferable and with comparably low fees. Now, Karim, I'll say straight off the top, I have a little bit of a hard time with this one because if I go back and I look at what it's saying here, it says that this this novel token hopes to give XAUT holders the ability to own digitally allocated gold. So my thing here is, if you're going to own digitally allocated gold, how much gold does Tether, how do they know how much gold they are supposed to have on hand for when they go ahead and sell these tokens? I think it's impossible for a company to know um, how much people are going to buy the token and have the actual gold to back it. What's your opinion so far on this?
Well, I would say that it's very similar. You can draw a parallel with the Federal Reserve. How did they know how much USD they need for, depending on how much people are going to spend in a year? It's a hard bet, and fundamentally, it's based, I guess, on predictions. At Cache, we definitely don't take this approach. We only issue tokens when we have gold in store. As a matter of fact, we actually have a number of event-based entries pre-required that are all entered on blockchain before we can issue new tokens. If these requirements are not met, there are no new tokens. Tether has a slightly different approach. I don't want to poop on our competition too much, but they are notoriously much less transparent than we are. They only audit themselves, I believe, once every 30 days, and then there's again a delay about 3 months on their current holdings. So there's always a bit of a discrepancy on what is actually held, where it's held, and the amount of tokens in circulation. Whereas for Cache, for our CGT, it's a live update. We're auditable 24/7. I think later we'll actually go through the Explorer, which lets you see exactly which bars are held where and back which tokens.
Okay, so let's continue on here. In terms of redeemability, XAUT holders will be able to redeem their tokens for an associated physical gold if they have a delivery address in Switzerland. Okay, so you need to be in Switzerland. Holders can request for redemption if they have a minimum balance of 430 XAUT tokens, which is equivalent to 430 troy ounces of gold or the maximum weight of an LBMA good delivery bar. Now, Karim, if I'm reading this right, if I go ahead and buy this token and I want to redeem it for actual physical gold, I need to have 430 ounces of gold to be able to redeem it?
That and an address in Switzerland. And the reason, and just like the report put it quite accurately, it's the maximum amount for a 400-ounce bar or 400-ounce LBMA bar. Now, as most of you do know, 400-ounce bars actually fluctuate in weight, anything between about 350, 360, all the way up to 430. Meaning that if you did want to redeem all of your XAUT or your Tether Gold into a physical bar, you'd need the high end of that amount, so 430 ounces or 430 Tether Gold tokens. However, if the bar that you actually get delivered is only, say, 380, you'd be left with 50 Tether Gold tokens that you didn't get to redeem. So they wouldn't take these from you, but they would, however, send them back. So you'd be left with a 380-ounce bar and 50 Tether Gold tokens. At Cache, we have much smaller increments, so we only deal with 100 gram and 1 kilo bars. And as you know, the variations and the fluctuations in weight are much smaller on these. And also, we deal with pure gold. So as you know, we do deal with most LBMA bars, but we also have a number of others. We'll show you a list after this, which don't necessarily all have the same purity level. So some of them are 4.9, some of them are 3.95s. And to make sure that there's a consistency across all levels, we simplify it. So say a 1 kilo bar at 99.99% purity would actually only yield you 999 tokens. And that's also all you would need to redeem that particular bar.
Okay, it's good info there. Because I think a lot of us these are things that we may not notice, and so we'll move on. But some questions here: can the cryptocurrency be converted into physical gold on demand? How easy is the process? I mean, these are general questions. I think we'll get into these later. But sorry about that. Let's move on to CACHE.gold, PAXG. It's another popular token that's been out there. Paxos has another project that hopes to leverage on both gold and crypto's underlying characteristics. Gold that can be easily traded or leveraged, such as unallocated gold or gold ETFs or gold futures, does not offer full ownership of the underlying metal. This is true and something we're all pretty much aware of. What is being traded is merely synthetic gold, not the real thing. According to Paxos, one has to sacrifice ownership in gold to be able to harness gold's liquidity and fungibility. So Paxos is saying that there is a trade-off that we need to understand, and we'll get into that as well. And they also say redemption of physical gold bars requires a minimum balance of at least 430 PAXG or 430 troy ounces. Karim, so again, I mean, I gotta ask: who is this really made for? Is this made for like institutional guys or just the average gold investor at 430 ounce redemption?
So it's quite a hefty amount, as you all know. Fundamentally, what I think is important to note is that both in the cases of Tether and Paxos, both of these actually had a product before they had a gold token. Both of these have a stable coin. So Paxos has their own stable coin, and Tether, which is the company behind USDT, is another stable coin. And when you are a crypto trader and you wish to exit a trade, you tend to put your money into USD or a USD equivalent, because most exchanges are not yet integrated with traditional financial markets. It's quite tough to exit a position, put it into USD without having to declare it as immediate capital gains, without having to go through a number of transactions, two-day delay in transaction times, and so on. So what people tend to do is exit one crypto position for another, which is more stable. And in the case of USDT and Paxos, that's exactly what they built. They built a coin which is supposed to be a US dollar equivalent. Now, with that in mind, when they built a gold token, they came from a we are building a new currency perspective. When Cash was founded, we decided to build, or Brian Hankey and Gregor Gregerson decided to build a token which simplifies the procedure behind traditional vaulting operations, digitizes them into a standard operating procedure, and has a token which is fundamentally just a unit of account, or say a fungible vault receipt. So we took into account every single thing that's needed to operate a vault, say storage fees, transfer fees, redemption fees, that possibly Paxos and Tether didn't know about because they're not bullion dealers, they're not vault operators.
Exactly. Great point there again. And another thing with Pax Gold, let's just take a quick look at this. Currently trades on the Triv Pro, Bithumb, Global, Kraken, Hit, BTC, and ItBit. This may have changed. This is a year old, so it may have changed. They were already trading on these exchanges since April 30th of 2020. It has a circulation of 43.4 million USD. There are no storage or custody fees. No storage. That's all right. They're storing gold for free. Okay, so no storage. There is a fee payable for creations and redemptions of PAXG tokens, and 0.03 to 1% based on volume tiers in the Paxos wallet, with on-chain Ethereum transaction fees at 20 basis points, or 0.20%. So I read this again, and that kind of sticks out for me, where there's no storage fee. I mean, we're talking 400-ounce LBMA bars, 400 plus ounce LBMA bars, and there's no fee to store these big heavy bars.
Like like the old saying goes, if it's too good to be true, it usually ain't. So the way that like I said, Paxos built Tether built a gold token based on a model that we were familiar with, which is the new currency model, and didn't necessarily know how high or how important storage fees are when dealing with physical gold. And we don't want to poop on our competition too hard either, and saying that there's no gold back there. I'm pretty sure they do have some sort of store of value, but it's not necessarily physical gold. It might be gold equivalent. I know that their white paper has changed over time, and that their T's and C's have changed as well on their website. As a matter of fact, you can actually see some discrepancy there on their site. I think we wrote an article about this some time ago. Fundamentally, what we do understand that they're doing now to cover for storage fees is that they're slowly diluting their supply of physical gold backing, and essentially creating artificial inflation. What I mean by that is that they're actually releasing tokens without there being any physical gold backing behind it, creating capital, so to speak, to spend on storage fees to cover what they already have issued prior. What that does mean down the line, though, is that if one token right now is worth 1 ounce, in 5 or 10 years' time of doing this particular procedure, it'll be worth 0.9 ounces. That artificial inflation, that decrease in price and value, is what's paying for the storage fees of the existing tokens.
Yeah, okay. And I think this goes back to the point where what we said about cash, where it's gold first, built by a company that knows gold, knows silver, knows how to store gold and silver, track the gold and silver in the vault, and really store it properly. So the difference again is Cash Gold started with gold, and the technology was built around gold and understanding how to store gold. Whereas the other guys, as mentioned, they had a technology that they just kind of stuffed gold into, and they didn't realize all these things such as storage fees and things like that.
It's complicated, right? I mean, even if you look at traditional ETFs, people do tend to forget that the GLD ETF has storage fees. It's 40 basis points, but no one really realizes because it gets taken off of your position size by the end of the year. So it's just kind of hidden in there somewhere, and it's not quite as transparent. Again, redemption on traditional ETFs is a lot more complicated unless you're a multinational or have an incredible amount of holdings in the GLD ETF. It's virtually impossible to actually extract physical gold from the GLD ETF vaults. Similarly with Paxos and with Tether Gold, it's incredibly complicated and quite tough to accrue 430 ounces worth of tokens and then redeem them at a 400-ounce bar, which is somewhere between 350 and 430 ounces in real life.
Okay. All right. So moving on, let's go to Infinigold PMGT. This is the Perth Mint Gold token. It's a unique digital gold token on a public blockchain that is the first to be backed by government guaranteed gold. The Perth Mint is the custodian of the underlying physical gold that backs all gold pass certificates, with every ounce of gold guaranteed by the government of Australia. And Perth Mint hopes to offer better value compared to other gold products by having no management or storage fees, and redemption fees into physical from this unallocated metal are specified on the Perth Mint's website. So, I mean, just kind of glossing through this one here, the PMGT Perth Mint Gold token. Is it fair to say that again, there's no storage fees, um, possibly because there's the gold meant to back the token could be future gold. So therefore, because it's future gold from mining or production, it would not have to have a storage fee, but it'll come around on the flip side when you try to redeem it. Then there's like a minting fee or other things like that.
Correct, and this is probably my favorite one for all of the wrong reasons, especially on a channel like this one where I know that trust in government and trust in fiat currencies, which are issued by governments, is notoriously low. Here is a token which is guaranteed by the government saying, well, there's gold in the ground, probably, and here's a token that guarantees you that when we mint it one day, it'll be worth 1 ounce, probably. it's there's a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust in the gold being in the ground, on the reserves that they're selling compared to what's actually left. I mean, what's stopping them from selling 100 times the amount of potential reserves that are actually in the ground in Australia? And how does the government ensure that or guarantee that? It's a very shady, not a shady prospect, but it's functional. Fundamentally, it's very similar to a sort of to a fractional reserve system where part of what's going to come will cover what's currently being issued, which is how I guess most governments do work so far. Venezuela had something similar with their petroleum reserve as well, with a lot of bidding going on crude that has not yet been extracted. The highest amount of crude oil in the world, I think, is held under Venezuela, but none of it's been well, not none of it, but very little of it has been withdrawn. Does that mean that it's a very wealthy country or one that just hasn't been asked to pay up yet or deliver yet?
Okay, it's another good point there. We got some questions coming in. I'll get to the questions in a bit. And lastly, in this article, I want to move to CGT, Cash Gold Token. Cash Private Limited was incorporated in Singapore to design and develop a transparent, freely tradable, fully redeemable gold token that aims to scale to millions of ounces of gold, equivalent to billions of US dollars in liquidity. However, CGT differs by allowing individual parcels or smaller bars to be used in the system. A variety of 100 gram, 1 kilogram, and 400-ounce London good delivery bars will be backing cash, with the inclusion of smaller bars increasing the ease of which users can redeem their gold. Cash Gold differs from other projects detailed by allowing redemptions to be done via trusted third parties. And the redemption meaning you want to convert your token back into physical. So in this way, cash redemptions are comparably more distributed, allowing for dealers to bid for the CGT Cash Gold tokens to be redeemed. Also allows for decentralized price discovery to take place. Karim, could you explain that a little bit?
Sure. So We do partner with a number of bullion dealers and vaults around the world, like I previously mentioned. And at times of redemption, we do have, for now, it's actually mostly silver bullion and cash ourselves that are allowed to bid on, say, on the gold bar. So if you want to redeem it physically, it can be delivered by one of our trusted bullion dealers around the world. Some of them are physically closer. Some of them have easier access, or different, or the bars are actually required or demanded by the redeeming party. This all in all allows for, like you said, price discovery. So it's actually, we have an automated system saying it's the highest bid that gets approved, so that the client that wants to redeem the bar actually has the best value. Um, we also partner, like I said, with vaults around the world, so that we decentralize the process, not just with vaults that we control. We don't. We work, like I said, with Lumis, Brink, Still Engage, and with the Safe House in Singapore. So these are all trusted companies. Most of them are listed, and we believe that they will do a good job. And we've mostly been physically to visit them and see our gold holdings.
Okay. And lastly, from this article here, the PSPM Act, which is the Precious Stones and Precious Metals Act, is enforced by the Ministry of Law in Singapore, which ensures that Singapore's legal framework is clear and transparent, and having a transparent setup allowing customers to view. And we'll get into this. You can actually view the gold that's there, view actual packages of bars in storage that are available for redemption is novel and welcome, and we should definitely keep a close eye on this fully regulated entity based out of Singapore, and that's why we're here today. We really want to share this with, especially with the, let's just eh, gold bugs. Let's just use that word, not to be taken in a derogatory way, but gold bugs, gold investors, people who really feel the the sound moneyness of gold. I guess we could say people who enjoy the sound money. So I want to go and ask you a few more questions here.
Please.
What was not on this list at that time was Kinesis money. What would the similarities and differences be between cash gold and Kinesis money?
So we're getting this question more and more, just because Kinesis is gaining in notoriety. Kinesis is, before anything else, a wallet application, which happens to also have a gold and silver dealing or minting process as well, I believe. Um, so to take a step back, Kinesis does allow you to store cryptocurrencies on your wallet. They also have a small debit card or charge card with which you can instantly process payments with your current holdings, be they in crypto, gold, or silver, which fundamentally is pretty cool. However, where Kinesis racks up a little bit of doubt, so to speak, is that they are willing to share their profits with people that mint gold and silver, which fundamentally means that they somehow create value from storing gold or silver in vaults, and then they give that value to users. Kinesis, as far as we know, does not a vault operator, so they don't make money from storing gold or silver. And the only way you could actually make money from that is by using capital that you generate from your wallet application to pay people that then mint or store gold and silver on your app. Again, I can't seem to get my head around exactly. If we were to do this, it would basically mean that we were to distribute our redemption fees and our transaction fees with current users, and that would only work whilst people are currently redeeming more, and that our number of holders would decrease. Other than that, we're basically creating inflation in future demand and shortage in supply.
Okay, so now that we have a pretty let's just call it basic, a pretty fair understanding of some of the gold back tokens that are out there, let's head over to the Cache website, cache.gold. Gold for the 21st century. Our Cache Gold CGT, or Cache Gold Token CGT, transparently combines the unique qualities of gold with the benefits of a modern crypto asset, fully backed, redeemable, regulated, and with worldwide liquidity. One CGT represents 1 pure gram of gold. So taking gold into the 21st century, can you kind of share that, explain that with us?
So like we said, I mean, if you're in a traditional financial investor, then the obvious choice on how to invest is usually going to be a GLD ETF, the gold ETF, which is out there and which is available on most trading platforms. So understandably, if you're creating a portfolio on your Ameritrade account, you're going to invest in, and you want a gold exposure, you're going to invest in the GLD ETF. The alternative and the notoriously better one is to invest in physical gold. However, it's pretty hard to link your Ameritrade account to your gold exposure, which you hide at home under your mattress, or you which you have an account with the likes of the Safe House or any other vaulting operator. So what we did is we built a liquid investable asset, physical gold, which is linked to a digital medium of investment, in our case, which is blockchain, making it a lot easier in the 21st century when everyone's quite technologically savvy to invest in physical gold, have physical gold exposure, the same way you would in a vault, all by linking it to your traditional wallet applications or investment vehicles.
Okay, let's head back to that website. I want to scroll down a bit. Um, it's also Sharia compliant, which
I'm
which
very
helps
happy for
out.
that.
Yeah, that does help out some people there. Um, it's more than a token. Cash is a transparent gold marketplace. And then you have here explore our gold backing. And this is what I would say is at the heart of it all. We have
Thank
here
you.
gold, yeah, gold bullion. We have Loomis Singapore. We have the Safe House Singapore. We have Loomis in Switzerland, I suppose, correct?
Yep,
And then we
Switzerland,
also
that's right.
have Dallas, IDS Dallas. So these are places that actually store the gold. Would that be correct?
That's correct. So these are our partner vaults around the world. Actually, at the very top bar, you can see vaults, location, brands, and so on. It's a basic filter. But if you click, for example, on, say, Loomis Switzerland, or Loomis Schweiz, sorry, which are Swiss partners in Kloten in Switzerland. And if you click on any one of these bars, so up to you, the Credit Suisse, the Argor, what you will see first of all is a picture that our vault operator has taken for us of the bar that's being tested by an electrical conductivity measurement device. This is one of the early testing events that we're adding onto our blockchain. If you go down, you actually see our parcel history. So if you can scroll down to the bottom, there's a scanning event at the bottom, a custodian assignment, and finally a utilization log. These are basically the events that are prerequisites before we can even issue tokens. The scanning being the bar arriving at the vault. The custodian assignment is that Cache is currently the client at this particular vault, and that the token is in the possession of Cache. And finally, the utilization log that says that the bar or the tokens are not encumbered in any other way. If you click on the utilization log link, and for the ease of everyone's use, let's click on formatted use for view only in the middle there. Fantastic. Right here, you'll actually see every single detail about the bar itself, the staff member that the employee hash that actually which is the employee number that scanned the bar in. There's the RFID details are on there, the bar details are on there, the weight, the purity. There's also the scanner ID, so we scan these bars in with a small RFID scanning gun. All of those are on there just to make sure that all of this data is publicly available. And when I say public, this is updated immediately. So as soon as a bar gets scanned in, these events are created and this is immediately put on blockchain. If it's not, we can't issue tokens. If you go back just a second, please. So back onto the utilization log. And if you go onto view on Etherscan blockchain, on Ethereum blockchain, sorry, this will redirect you to Etherscan, which is a public view of the Ethereum blockchain on which the address, the name, the topic, all of the data is pretty much available here for everyone to see. So this is not our private blockchain. This is in no way privatized. This is viewable for anyone, even if you're not a client of Cache or of CACHE.gold. You can see all of this data. We're publicly auditable 24/7.
Okay, so let me go back here. I will go to the
We actually until recently had the vault documents on this, so the certificate of receipts and so on. But a client of ours did successfully noticed that some employee details, including their ID numbers, was on there. So we had to remove them, but we're fixing that, and they should be back up there shortly.
Okay, okay. So let me go back here. I believe it was formatted use
Yeah.
for viewing. Okay, so this actually, the RFID was when it was scanned. Is
So the,
that
the
correct?
the so the RFID is the small sticker you can see on the plastic tamper-proof bag that it's in.
Okay, okay. So similar to when we go shopping and they have those RFID tags.
Pretty much.
Okay, so then what happens is this is to say that 100 grams of gold, and I guess this is the serial number here, 715551.
I
Uh,
believe so.
it was
Yeah.
scanned and put into the system. It's an Argor gold bar, serial number 71151. Argor bar again, one of them, and gross weight was 100 grams. So this is all to basically let you know that this gold bar actually does exist, and it gives you the history of the gold bar, and so that way, as we mentioned, a cash gold token cannot exist if the gold does not exist. Would that be correct?
That is correct. So if we were to try and say upload a fake bar, you would either see a fake picture or a duplicate of one that already exists on our Explorer, and with the identical serial number. All of these are red flags that again can be seen by anyone, especially us, as we do still make sure that our partner vaults operate within our measures of excellence.
Okay, let's move on here. We'll get back to the website, but we kind of touched on this where we see some gold-backed tokens with storage fees and others that do not have storage fees, and this is important. How do some of these companies, how do they store gold without having a fee? Because the whole point here is a company has to make money. So how are companies making money, and how is Cash Gold making money?
So, like you said, we have fees. So we have storage fees, we have redemption fees, and we have transfer fees as well. We have a storage fee of 25 basis points per annum, so 0.25%. We have a redemption fee of 15 basis points, so 0.15%, and transfer fee of, I believe, 10 basis points. All
Okay,
of
so
these are what allow us to, sorry, yeah, on our website at the top under learn and pricing. Oh, sorry, fees.
okay, so the fees are here.
Correct. So what's important to note here is that the storage transfer, as well as the inactivity fee, which we'll get into shortly, are all processed on chain, meaning that we couldn't change these if we wanted to. These are all part of our code that allows us to operate on blockchain, and we cannot alter that. So we can't say a year from now that our storage fee goes up to 50% or anything around those lines. It's capped at 25 basis points, and that's all it'll ever be. The redemption fee obviously has to be processed off chain because, well, these are fees that we actually need to process directly with that we have to need to interact with our vaults and with our shipping providers and generally manual labor. But again, it's low at 15 basis points.
Okay, so let me get back to another question. I think we kind of answered a few questions here. Let me go back. Okay, is the gold backing the Cash Gold token an allocated account or a pooled account?
So this is a great question, and it's also a question that we get a lot of miscomprehension about or doubt about. So in order for CGT to be redeemable around the world, but also for you to be able to put in a physical bar of gold in one country and take it out in another, it has to be pool allocated. So the main reason why one CGT is equal to 1 gram of pure gold, not relevant to the specific bar it's from, is because we want it to be able to be fungible, commoditized, essentially, where gold is gold and the gold that we hold is, or the CGT that you hold is redeemable for any bar we hold in any one of our vaults around the world. So it's a fully allocated pool-based system. And what I mean by fully allocated is that the gold that we hold in our vaults is not encumbered or used for anything else. So that's the utilization log that you saw just earlier on the Explorer, means that the gold that we have in our vaults is only being used to issue cash gold tokens. We're not taking a loan out against them. We're not using it for anything else. It's unencumbered, fully allocated.
Okay, so fair to say that then an allocated account, which means a specific bar with a specific identifying number that belongs to you, would then make the mobility of your gold much more expensive to ship to you wherever you may be in the world. Whereas in a pooled account, you'll own a specific purity, let's say 9999 as an example, and a weight, an X amount of grams. And this trade off between allocated and pooled is what then allows your gold to be what I'm calling mobile. It allows your gold to become borderless. And this is an important feature and option for Goldbugs to have. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely agree. It's actually one of our biggest use cases is for people that want to move from one country to another, or that have, or for refiners or bullion dealers that need to ship several tons, say, from one country to another. Shipping gold is expensive, and as a retail client, it's complicated. There are tax implications, there are declaration implications. What we allow you to do is to digitize your gold temporarily, if you want to, and then redeem it physically in the country of your choice, or at least in the country that we operate in.
Okay, let me just add this in here because there was a comment about fees. Fees are important. Too many companies using fee services to attract or free services to attract users. Oftentimes, the company has no sustainable revenue stream, and this is important because at the top we talked about, 70 plus gold back tokens. Not all of them are going to make it. Some are obviously scams. So the point again is you have to know how the company that you're going with is making money. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
right. I
Absolutely.
mean,
It's same when you invest in a company and want to audit it for performance. You need to know how it makes money, how it operates, or is it just a Ponzi scheme, which is using, new customers' money to pay off older ones? What we did with Cash was trying to maximize transparency and especially trustlessness. You don't necessarily need to trust us at all because everything that we do is publicly visible for everyone to see. And that's in a world like today, dealing with physical assets, and especially when it comes to blockchain, we pride ourselves on our transparency.
yeah, we can see that through that Explorer where you can actually see the bars that are there. It's like you can go shopping with your CGT. I have
That's
another.
actually exactly how our redemption process works. It's very similar to online shopping. You can browse through, once you create an account, of course, and finish a very basic KYC. You can
Yeah.
browse through all of the gold bars we have in the country of your choice, or in all of them if you don't care about shipping fees. And then instead of using US dollars to buy them, you just use your CGT balance.
Okay. I have a comment here. David Lanham. I like it, but I just don't know why crypto is involved. Is a cryptocurrency and a token, are they the same things?
So a cryptocurrency is a token, yes, fundamentally. But I think what the question really alludes to is why blockchain is involved. Blockchain is basically just a public ledger. So all of this transparency and the immutability of it is again a way for us to prove that you don't need to trust us, that we're fully transparent. All the transactions passed are available on blockchain. All of our issuances are available on blockchain, and all the redemptions are visible and available on blockchain. And if we make a mistake at an entry of a bar, for example, and we accidentally put a 1 kilo bar instead of a 100 gram one, or the entry of say 1,000 grams instead of 100, then our correction of that mistake is also publicly viewable for everyone. We can't just delete an entry. And that immutability of blockchain is definitely what we pride ourselves in you trusting us.
Okay, another question that came in. How do these gold backed cryptos effect relate to the gold price over a weekend when markets are closed, but crypto markets are still open?
Correct. So there is some volatility there, but as we all know, gold and most precious metals are notoriously stable. Um, Fundamentally, yes, our gold token is backed, and there will always be liquidity to buy and sell our tokens at the current gold price. And over the weekend, that's exactly what we do. We peg it to the last gold price.
Okay, another question here. Mitch Alex, I like PAX G. Cash Gold seems better except for liquidity. PAX G is on major platforms already. Is what platforms are Cash on?
So right now we are on Bittrex, we are on Bithum, we are on the Norwegian Block Exchange, and a number of decentralized platforms such as Uniswap and many more. You can actually see the full extent of every single place we're listed in, excuse me, on our website. Under, I believe, exchanges is the tab. Sorry, buy at the top left, in the drop down menu. You have, and 1inch Exchange, of course, could never forget.
Okay, so bit
I agree. I agree with the comment that our liquidity is still relatively low. It is part of our growth, and we are looking for more. And the more you use it, the more enthusiasts like all of you use it, the higher up our liquidity will go. We do, however, provide liquidity. So on all of these exchanges, there will always be a buying and a selling order available to make sure that the price is matched at the current gold price. Paxos was earlier than us and benefited from the boom of all crypto and got managed to list on exchanges when it was a lot easier to do so. Now, however, they may be in a situation where their growth has stumped their business performance, where it becomes a lot harder, to manage physical gold holdings when all of a sudden you have tens of millions or hundreds of millions to cover in physical gold and in storage fees.
Okay, let me go back to another follow-up question here, David Lanham. So you have to pay a fee if you someone well trustworthy to hold your gold. Again, this goes into the business model. The business has to create some money, and again, the trade-off is if you have that physical gold, um, how do you barter with someone who may be, a couple hundred miles away? Whereas if you did use some of it to digitize to be able to mobilize your gold in some way, and you could
Mhm.
actually send, if it were, let's say, a barter type of scenario, whatever it is, and the person you're trading with likes gold, you can send him some CGT. So in this way, again, that trade off is you can have the physical, but you're kind of limited in some ways. Yes, you have absolute security because it's in your possession, but there are some limitations that it brings in as well. Whereas if you do digitize, then it opens up it opens up more options for you. So there's a bit of a trade off again. Would you
That's
would you
that's
say that?
that's very true. And the way we like to position CGT or describe it, say to traditional gold holders, is that we have a fungible, meaning exchangeable, and fractionable vault receipt for gold. So if you have your gold in a vault, and you will obviously pay fees on it, that receipt that you get is what we've digitized and turned into CGT. Only that you can exchange it for other vault receipts. So there's no name attributed necessarily to the vault receipt other than ours, and you can fractionalize it down to actually 8 points after the decimal, so 10 to the minus 8, 0.0001.
Okay, let me head
The
back over to. I'm sorry.
Please.
Let me just head back to the website real quick. Um, in the buy section, if you scroll all the way down, you actually do end up where you can see that silver bullion is actually one place where you could go, and it's listed here. So if you
That's very true. Our favorite OTC brokers.
yeah, so it's a bit of an easier way if a person is unfamiliar with an exchange or anything like that, they can go ahead and purchase it from there. But I interrupted you. You were saying something earlier.
um, So no, like I was saying, it's essentially just a fungible vault receipt. And if you were to say buy a car, you don't just buy the car, you buy the pink slip. And in this case, CGT is fractionalized and fungible pink slips for gold in vaults.
Okay, let me see what question I'm on now. Use cases for CGT. I'm sure you get this a lot. Would you or can you go and buy yourself a cup of coffee with the CACHE.gold token?
So it's important to note that we are not regulated as a payment token here in Singapore. We are regulated as an asset-backed token, meaning that we abide by all the same rules that you would as a physical gold dealer. If you want to buy a coffee with physical gold, that's actually entirely up to the barista whether he or she wants to accept physical gold as payment. Similarly, so for digitized gold or for crypto or for any blockchain based currency, the person you're buying it from needs to be okay or needs to have the infrastructure necessary to accept payment in that particular token. For us, by all means, if you want to hold your petty cash, so to speak, as CGT and use it as payment, we don't have anything against that. By all means, it seems like a pretty stable play to pay for things in physical gold.
Okay, let me look for I see some other questions that came out here. Let me go ahead and find it. Scout, I'll just read it out here. Um, what is your competitive advantage over Kinesis and Load, who both have gold in vaults?
We also have gold in vaults. It's as a competitive advantage, let's say Kinesis, and I'm not familiar with Load, unfortunately, but Kinesis is a wallet. So the fact that they have, say, a debit card with which you can make payments and so on, basically means that they have partners in the infrastructure with, I believe, Visa and Kinesis' sense, which automatically and instantly liquidates whichever holdings in crypto or in physical gold in exchange for fiat with which one can make payments. Now, if we were to compare infrastructure as to what we do and what Kinesis does, Kinesis could, technically speaking, offer CGT as a value of storage on their platform, right next to Ethereum, gold, and say Bitcoin, for example. They could very well put CGT. At Cache, we build tokens. We build tokens, we store gold, and we offer redemptions for that physical gold. So from a technological perspective, we are compatible, so to speak. They just have, as far as I know, Kinesis is on a private blockchain for all of their gold holdings, which means that they do have control over their ledger in ways that we do not. So we cannot go back and make amendments. I believe that they can.
Okay. So, I mean, this is a simple question here, but I think it's important. Who is Cache Gold and the Cache Gold token or CGT for? Because I have seen some comments rolling through that this isn't for the average Joe, too complicated and things like that. So who would CGT actually be for?
Well, back at the time when traditional financial instruments were a lot too complicated for the average Joe, it was a lot easier just to go down to a bank and open a current account, and your banker or your teller explains everything to you, and they give you cash and you put deposit cash and they hold a balance on a ledger for you. CGT, or the Cache Gold token, is not necessarily for someone that likes to have gold at home, like I mentioned earlier in the live stream. We understand, by all means. I mean, I have silver at home as well, and I don't have mine to digitize that. However, I also have CGT because it allows me to do things in the digital world. So I guess CGT is very much for people that want exposure to vaulted gold, that want the flexibility to deal with it in many ways, and that don't necessarily have the funds inside necessary to buy 100 gram or 1 kilo bars and have them vaulted for however long they need them. It's also for bullion dealers or for refiners. So if, for example, two bullion dealers were to make an exchange across borders, they could quite simply just settle the difference and lower or completely annul their shipping costs. CGT is essentially the easiest, or I'd say, or we would say, the most trustless and trustworthy in a complicated way to deal and own physical gold in a digital world.
Yeah, okay, so let me look at some of my notes here because if dealers, you mentioned bullion dealers, if dealers do trust cash, which they should, the code's really there, they can accept CGT from customers when customers buy gold from them. They do not need to ask cash if they can begin such transactions. They can just send it wallet to wallet.
Correct. They can just send it wallet to wallet. And right now, what's interesting is that most bullion dealers have an exposure either to gold or to a fiat currency. The medium of exchange is still going to be mostly US dollars because that's what we price our ounces in. But if you had CGT, for example, it would allow you to mitigate your exposure in the same way that financial instruments such as futures do, with something that's actually backed by physical gold. So all of a sudden, your medium of transfer and the metal that you're dealing with become the same thing, and you have a net zero exposure.
Okay, another other question here from one of the viewers. Is exchange based on spot price or at time of deposit? Mm,
I'm not
maybe,
sure I understand the question
yeah,
exactly when it comes to time of deposit, but it's based on spot price, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
think that maybe that's
As a
what
matter
he's
of
looking for.
as a matter of fact, on our website, you can see our current CGT pricing and the gold pricing at the very top. And if that matches your spot price, then you know.
Okay, so where would we see
On
this?
cache.gold at the very top. So this is
Okay,
silver bullion, but top left, you see the gram price at the very top there, 57.99.
okay. So it's right here, so you'll know it. And this is
These are
actually
these are grams, not ounces. Do that. Please keep that in mind.
okay, right? And so they actually move with the spot price of gold at the time.
Correct.
Okay. Um, one more from James Tam. How the tokens or the gold will give impact to the gold market. I mean, I guess maybe in like relation to a paper gold, or I mean,
Well,
Well, how would you?
I guess also, I guess, well, the way I understood the question, or I understand the question is, down the line, if CGT becomes incredibly popular, what does that mean for physical gold? What does that mean for GLD ETFs or other alternative gold ETFs? And I guess the response is quite, well, complex and simple, and also to a large extent, we're forecasting here or predicting here. We currently provide liquidity and make sure that our token is pegged to the gold price. Down the line, when we become a lot more popular and arbitrage kind of takes care of itself in tiny increments across platforms and exchanges on which we're listed, the same way it does with other major cryptocurrencies, ideally won't have to provide liquidity anymore. It will just do itself because the demand and the supply will constantly be there. At which point, maybe the global gold market will recognize our cash gold token as more valuable than physical gold because, well, it's portable, it's practical, it's fungible, it's fractionable, and maybe there might be a small premium on CGT compared to, say, a physical 100 gram or 1 kilo bar. They're all things that are very possible just because, well, the market prices things as they see fit, and maybe it's better, maybe it's not quite as good. It's also a possibility. But it's
Okay.
it's a new product out there. It's a new product out there.
Okay. A few more questions here. I know we're running pretty late here. What are your premiums on stand for delivery?
So the delivery is a separate fee. So if you go onto our website and you choose a country of delivery, we can give you an estimation of how much that would cost if you go on to redeem. We're also adding new countries now that we've partnered with a new vault in Switzerland, so we should have delivery prices for most of Europe up there by the end of this week or next week.
Okay. So I want to go back here though, because this is pretty important. The gold backing section. So if I were to buy a cash gold token, or I buy some cash gold token, I can redeem it, turn it back to physical in any of these places. Meaning, if I were to buy CGT, um, and I'm in the U.S. and then I leave the U.S. and I go to, let's say, Singapore or Switzerland, I can then turn in that CGT in Switzerland, let's say, and go ahead and get the physical gold, or vice versa. If I'm in Singapore or Switzerland and I leave these countries and I go to the U.S., because there is an, I don't know if affiliate's the right word, or partner, because there is a location in Dallas, they can redeem physical over in Dallas.
That is correct. That is a big part of our model, and most of our vaults actually allow for walk-in pickups and walk-in deposits for physical gold. So if you don't want to pay for a delivery fee, you can opt in for redemption, and we'll make sure that they're ready for you to walk in and pick up the physical bar of gold. As a matter of fact, it's not just these locations. For example, Lumi's in Switzerland. We've entered a deal for shipping across most of Europe. So even if you're not in Switzerland, but you're, say, in Germany or in France, there are shipping and transport possibilities for them to reach you there. Singapore, obviously, a bit more complicated when it comes to shipping.
Okay. Okay. Let me take a look at a few comments here. Um, let's see. There may be some confusion still where we are trying to tell them to hold CGT for gold ownership. Uh, and some people might not understand that we're offering them options. Uh, Everybody has a different scenario, everybody has a different need or circumstance. CGT is, I mean, for guys that feel like, you need to hold it to own it, that's fine. We're not telling anyone to, you need to
Absolutely.
do this, right? Because I hold as well. You guys don't know that. But what we're saying is it's about options. It's all about options where, you know, especially in the States, what if it gets to a point where just to get from California to Texas, crossing all these borders, you may be stopped, you may be searched, and you may not want to be carrying your physical with you at that point. So, I mean, it's people have different scenarios that they see that they may need gold for, or if like for instance, me, if I'm in Singapore, if I decide to go back to the U.S., um, I'm gonna it's gonna be in cash token, and I will get the gold back from Dallas instead of shipping it over from
Correct. And I
Singapore.
mean,
So
like you said, it's about options, right? So, and it's not only for people that, like you said, have gold and want to have a digital version of it. You can store your petty cash in CGT. So the amount of cash that you want to spend but don't want the exposure to fiat currency, to the US dollar, whichever else, you can put that in CGT and then turn it back into fiat cash over any of the exchanges that we're partnered with almost instantly, maybe 2 days transfer time, depending on who you bank with and who the exchange is. So it's not only for your gold holdings, it can also be your exposure for some that are too small to put into a physical bar of gold.
Okay. And Mitch Alex has another great question here. How easily can it be traded for US dollars, and what are the fees for doing so?
So we're listed on a number of exchanges, all of which have different dealings with different fiat currencies. It's traditionally quite easy. We're listed on the Norwegian Block Exchange, which also offers direct fiat pairs with the Norwegian crown and also the euro soon, I believe, or if we didn't already in this week. We're also offer redemption into US dollars. So at time of redemption, if you don't want to take delivery of the physical bar, we can also give you delivery of the US dollar equivalent of the physical bar. So similar process. You just log in, have a simple KYC with cash, and instead of taking delivery of the bar, we wire you USD.
Okay, so there's a choice. You can either take redemption, or you could, in a sense, sell it and get the cash wired to your
It's
account.
actually become quite a big meme of to exit crypto trades. A lot of traders don't want to exit, say, Bitcoin straight into US dollars or whatever else. And they come through, or because the fees are too high through exchanges, and our redemption fees at 15 basis points are a lot lower than sometimes the over 10% liquidation fees of most cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so Vincent chiming in, helping out with the questions here. Um, oh, this thing is so huge. Anyway, we are now talking about owning gold using CGT. Nothing beats the physical that you hold yourself. It's true. I agree there. And we are highlighting what options. This is all about options that gold holders may want to have, because, as we said, we're going to need our gold to work for us. We are into it in so many ways: investment, insurance, hedge against hyperinflation. All of these things may have to trade, barter with it. We're in it for so many ways, and we just need to know the options that gold can do what we intended to do for us.
That's
So,
very true. I mean, physical gold is hard to deal with, and it's hard to it's hard to break down into usable amounts. I mean, you just showed a video of a gold bar going into a shredder. So if you really need to pay for your coffee with a physical bar of gold, there'll be a lot of scratching involved.
okay. No, we like them. We like our bars nice and shiny still. So let me see what other questions I had for you. What is Cash Gold looking at in the future? What plans do you have? Saw some guys asking if silver is on the table.
So we are looking at silver, and we are also looking at other EV metals such as nickel and cobalt. And we're also very soon launching an NFT. So as the other metals go, silver, cobalt, nickel, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to do the exact same thing as we've been doing with physical gold. Now the NFT is quite interesting because the pool allocated system isn't for everyone. I totally understand that, especially if you're used to holding physical gold at home in your hands or in a vault. The NFT essentially digitizes your vault receipt and creates an NFT, so a non-fungible token, meaning that every single token is directly equivalent to one particular physical bar. It's not fractionable, you can't break it down into multiple pieces, and you can't exchange it for another one seamlessly. What you can do, however, is go onto an NFT exchange or onto a decentralized exchange, or as you see fit, and exchange that particular token, or that NFT, sorry, that particular bar, for another one. You can sell it. It basically creates a liquidity pool, a decentralized liquidity pool for you to exchange your physical bar of vaulted gold. So we call it a vaulted NFT.
Okay. Another question here. This one's above my pay grade. When will token be pulled in DAPP like
A
curve?
DApp, a decentralized application like Curve.
Above my
So
pay grade.
so we're actively looking for decentralized apps as well as staking pools and so on for people to actually earn interest or payment for making their token available on exchanges and pools, which is pretty common in the crypto world. Is going to be staking and DeFi applications. Again, this is great. These are other options, so to speak, of what to do with your gold. Currently, if you hold gold in a vault, there's very little you can do with it other than pay storage fees and secure your capital. What dApps and other decentralized finance applications do let you do is provide it as collateral for loans, is provided as stake it essentially to earn interest, at which point the exchange uses it to provide liquidity for swaps and exchanges. All of these things are available with traditional cryptocurrencies and now with asset-backed tokens such as CGT. Working on
Okay. Okay. Another comment here. We'll wrap up soon. Uh, please try to get on more exchanges. What is
Yes, yes, I
preventing
agree.
cash from getting on exchanges?
Yes, I agree. We're trying. We're trying very hard. Actually, the more crypto has grown in the last couple of years, the harder it is. Mostly because we can't just mint $1 billion worth of tokens and pay some of the outrageous fees that some of these exchanges are asking us to pay. Because we're a token that's backed entirely by a physical asset, we need to buy gold first, and only then can we provide tokens, which puts us a bit at a disadvantage of cryptocurrencies and other token projects that can just simply create value by issuing tokens.
Okay, another question here. Can I store CGT on a hard drive?
That's a great question, but that unfortunately is not how blockchain works. The blockchain is a decentralized ledger, which means that you can store your access details on what we'd call a physical cold storage ledger. And those access details, when plugged into, say, a computer or your phone, will give you access to the blockchain on which you have your holdings. Um, you can picture it as, say, a circle of transactions on which you have one single entry point, and that entry point can be secured, or the details for that entry point can be secured on what we call a ledger. But you cannot physically store any crypto asset on a hard drive.
Okay, another question here. Let me see. How does the circulation of cash compare with other gold-backed tokens?
We published our volume, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm sorry. On our website, I believe. And if not, if you do drop us an email, we'll be happy to send you our growth report. We are a little bit lower, mostly because we're listed on less exchanges, and exchanges do create volume. But we are growing at, I'd say, a rapid pace. We're very happy with how far we've gotten so far.
Okay, yeah, I have seen it growing as well. Mitch Alex, again, if this can be staked, I'm absolutely sold.
I agree, and we understand that for most crypto holders and crypto native people, paying fees on your digital assets is not quite as attractive. However, because it is in a world where staking and where DeFi products exist, we're definitely working on producing or sorry, on listing on an exchange where staking is available.
Okay, who is? I think I may have asked you this question.
I think we already
Right?
covered this one.
Who's it for? So let me just go back to the website here. Is there anything else on the website that is important for people to know? I mean, we can understand how to buy it. If trying to buy it on an exchange, excuse me, is a bit difficult, you can go ahead and pick it up at Silver Bullion, silverbullion.com.sg, but you can find it here under buy
Correct,
on
and
cache.gold.
hopefully that list will get a lot longer over time.
Okay, and for Learn, exchanges and wallets, you mentioned how it's on the public blockchain. Any important thing here also that people should know?
So I believe that the fees are key. I know that we went over those, but the fees are
Mhm.
definitely key to understand that we do charge storage fees, which is not necessarily quite a native thing for crypto holders, but it does allow us to do our job better than the competition. At least we hope so.
Okay, so with Learn, that would clarify that part. Okay, so then we could also move to Redeem. That's more or less you'd have to have an account and log in to be able
So
to get
correct. So
deeper
the
here.
redemption is there, and you can see the shipping prices. So for now, it says 2 countries, which is not quite accurate because we do ship across most of Europe, but we're updating that list right now. If you do click on shipping, you will see an estimation of how much the shipping cost will cost for the amount you're trying to redeem. Once you do create an account, though, redeeming physical gold or the US dollar equivalent is as easy as online shopping on the Amazons of this world. Choose your bar, pay in CGT, and off you are.
Okay, and what is the minimum to buy CGT?
So our smallest bars are 100 grams. Oh, sorry, to buy CGT itself, you mean? To
Yes.
buy CGT itself, that will depend entirely on the exchanges on which we're listed in. I believe Silver Bullion and most OTC brokers have a slightly higher minimum because, well, the physical labor or the man hours are a bit higher when we're dealing with OTC brokers, and possibly a bit lower on some of the exchanges we're listed on. But CGT is divisible up to 8 zeros after the decimal point, so 10 to the minus 8.
Okay, so it is possible for me to just buy one CGT token at a time, 1 gram at a
It's
time.
possible for you to buy 0.000001 CGT at a time.
Okay, okay, yeah, I think it's almost like a savings in some way, I guess, if you think about it. And transfer in another way to get CGT is you could actually transfer in or deposit your physical gold.
That is very true. I don't know if we covered that enough previously, but at all the vaults that we're currently working with in Dallas, Switzerland, and Singapore, we do offer transferring in. So if you have gold in a vault or the same vault that we work with, you can quite simply transfer that gold to cash, so to speak, with after going through an agreement with us, and we will issue you the tokens equivalent to the weight and purity of the bars that you have transferred into with us. There are limits, I believe actually that we didn't cover this. There are limits and there are regulations as to which kind of bars we do approve. So we don't just take any bars. We do have standards. Again, the weight 100 grams and 1 kilo bars, as well as only certain brands. If you go on to Learn, I believe you can see our gold standards right under the physical gold standards. One up. There we go. So these are our gold standards. So as you see, there's no junk gold, there's no unmarked gold, and so on. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll actually see every single bar brand that we. So this is explanation about what pure means, and here's the brand list of all the bars that we accept.
Okay, some familiar names out there. ABC Bullion, Logo Mulia. I think it's a Indonesian brand. Asahi. Familiar names. Credit Suisse, Heraeus, Johnson Matthey.
Again,
Popular names.
these are all refiners that we believe are trustworthy, well known
Right.
enough, but also are liquidatable if needed. So we don't want to be sitting on one brand of gold bars that no one wants to redeem. That's not the point of what we're trying to do. By the way,
Okay.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but we currently crossed the 100 kilos, so 100,000 CGT mark, I believe, just last week. And in the last year, if we hold 100 kilos, we've actually had 60 kilos, so 60% of our current holdings has once at least been redeemed and topped up again. So redemption is definitely a very big part of what we do.
Okay, and just to answer one more time that the question, the exchanges that it's on, 1 inch, if my eyes are okay. Bithum, Bittrex, Matcha, NBX, Polarity Exchange, and you
And
could also,
Uniswap and silver bullion is an OTC sales.
right? Okay, so those would be the places you can go ahead and get cash, gold token from. So with that, I mean, guys, if you have any more questions, let us know. I know we ran pretty late on this one. We're thankful that Karim stopped by to help explain CGT, cash gold token. As I said, and even Karim said, all of us say it may not be for everyone, but this is more
Absolutely.
for true. It may not be for everyone, and we're not trying to push that idea that it's for everyone. But this is an option that a lot of us may like to have, and that's really what we're looking at because I think we all know where things are headed and what we're looking at. So having options is going to be a very, very important thing. And over time, you could always just liquidate your CGT tokens, redeem it. You could sell it back. Would that be possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we provide liquidity, so buy and sell orders as as much as we possibly can to make sure that there is a liquid market, so that you can redeem, buy, sell as you see fit on all the exchanges that we're listed.
Okay, let me just take a last look at a few of these questions here, and then we'll head out our comments here. Um, okay, well I'll throw this in since you mentioned us. That will be soon. Physical silver and gold, XRP, cash.
XRP
Okay,
is
so
Ripple, yes, and
right,
cash.
so because he did mention cash, we'll throw in that. We'll throw in that
Yeah,
there.
we're definitely trying the unit economics for dealing with the storage and distribution of silver as a token are a bit more complicated because it's a lot more expensive to store a big bar of silver in a vault, and we don't want to necessarily offer a product or a token that has ridiculous storage fees,
Okay, I hear you.
but
Uh,
should be coming soon.
okay, so let's see. Yeah, Carrie Ellen Wilder, always good to have options for sure. That's what this is about. Um, yeah, also you can buy and sell CGT through silver bullion. Uh, that's possible as well, right?
It is, yeah. You just did show us silver bullion as the OTC sales system on our website. So if you go onto silver bullion, you can buy cash. I forget what the minimum amount is for purchase, but it is available if you want more traditional ways to buy cash or CGT.
Okay, take a quick look at that on the website again. It's under buy. Scroll down and you'll see silver bullion. So here we are. Uh, so yeah, you could, but you just have to sign up
Absolutely.
for an account again. Karim Raffa, COO of Cache Gold. Thank you for your time. Kept you running late here, but
No
you had
problem. It's
nothing better
always
to do, right? It's
it's only Monday.
yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you.
but thank you so much, Patrick. It's been great to be on air, always with you. It's always good talking to you. And if anyone does have any questions that we didn't get a chance to answer, there is a help widget on our website, and there is an email address at the bottom. So if you have any questions, we are always happy to answer them. We pride ourselves in being transparent and helpful as much as we can.
Okay, Karim Rafa, thanks again for your time. And again, we should direct people to cache.gold, and that'll
That's the
get you
one.
to the website. Okay, so with that, I guess we'll let you
Mhm.
go. And again, thanks for your time, and
Thank you so
I'll
much,
close
Patrick.
the show. All right, thanks again,
Cheers.
Karim. Okay, so let me see. Let me move forward here. That'll pretty much end the main topic of the day, and I'll just move over to commentary again. Karim, thank you very much. Appreciate it. The way I see it, for me, the world is going in a different direction than maybe many of us might want it or wish it to go. And for that reason, we need options. Again, this is all about options. Our gold and our silver, they need they need options too, and that's the point of this. We need options. So does our gold and silver. They need options as well to do what it can do for us. We need to be able to use our metals as stores of value. We need our gold and silver to fight off inflation, to be able to trade, barter, use it as a currency or even money. And for that, we need to, and like it or not, we need to digitize our gold in order to mobilize our gold. And that's what this is about. I mean, even for myself, saying digitize something here and there, sometimes it doesn't sit well. But when I weigh it out against the option of I need my gold and silver to do everything it possibly can for me, I I can open up a bit to that point about digitizing it. I can use my precious metals to barter with someone 10 feet away from me, but what if they're 10,000 miles away from me? Unless I'm the elongated man on Flash, I have to digitize my gold in order to mobilize it to make it a viable option to use. And CACHE.gold's Public Explorer allows me or anyone, as we showed you, to see just how much gold they really have versus how many tokens have been created. And you're going to see a 1-to-1 ratio there. A token cannot be created without the gold first. The gold has to come first, and then a token can be created. And it allows me to see where I can redeem my tokens back into physical gold. It allows me to be mobile because my gold is mobile. And this is the option, the bridge that I've been looking for. And maybe this is the option that will also help you and help your gold to do what it needs to do, what you envisioned it to do in the uneasy times ahead. And that'll end my commentary section. That'll wrap up everything, in fact. So, again, I'm glad that you folks would be here. I thank you for being here. You guys had some really great questions, and again, this may not be for everyone. I completely understand that. I completely understand if you don't hold it, you don't own it. We all have different feelings. I understand that. This is only about options. Maybe today it's not an option for you, but maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, maybe half a year from now, it may be an option that you might want to consider, really depending on how things in the world go. So keep it in mind, cache.gold. So with that, again, I thank you all for being here. Uh, appreciate the time you've given us as well. As Pablo Pina says here, options is in a way diversification. And that is true. There was a day guys would talk about diversifying your portfolio. Today, we hear a lot of guys saying also diversify the locations of your portfolio. So things have changed a bit. So with that, let's all remember, be a blessing, not a burden. Try our best not to be a burden. Try our best to be a blessing to the people we come across. Share with them the things we know, the options that we know about. Maybe it could be an option for them as well. And saddle up, guys. Just saddle up for what's coming ahead and silver up as well. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And again, hope you guys do subscribe and offer up those thumbs ups. I'll see you guys again. Take care. And I'll remember daylight savings time. I won't start an hour early next time. Take care. I'll see you guys again.